Right now, after the left's repeated desperate attempts to silence him, Senator Josh Hawley is fighting back against cancel culture. Yesterday, he penned an op-ed, actually aired in today's paper, the New York Post, front cover even, in which he called for pushback against the censoring of we, the American people. And new today, he is calling for an investigation into the senators who filed an ethics complaint against him for legally objecting, as, well, other Democrats have in the past, to election results. He wanted an audit. That's all. Meanwhile, big tech censorship continues as Twitter launched a new program today allowing any user to add a note to tweets they believe are false in order to, quote, add context for other users. That's why I'm off Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm off them all. Better things to do. Senator Josh Hawley, whose upcoming book, The Tyranny of Big Tech, being published by Regnery after, well, it got canceled and he got canceled and blacklisted, is now available, by the way, for pre-order. I don't know if Amazon is even selling it, and it will be released on the 4th. Senator Hawley, thanks for joining us. I want to go through this. You know, you talked about the latest import from China, and I found that interesting, about social credit. We know about, you know, your credit score. Now you're saying you better have the right opinion so you don't make it in this, I don't know, new polite society of the day. If you happen to have a view that you want to audit an election because you have all these eyewitnesses that signed affidavits, for example.
Yeah, now we've got big tech and the big corporations, Sean, in league with the left. And what they're basically saying is, listen, if you don't hold the right opinions, then you're not going to be able to be on social media. You're not going to be able to get a job, maybe. You're not going to be able to communicate. If you have a small business, you're going to get boycotted. It is an unbelievable attempt by big business, big tech, and the left to try to censor all dissent, to try to shut down all opposition, to try to silence half of America. And while the Democrats talk about unity in Washington, they don't want unity. What they want is total control. And these big corporations are right there with them trying to achieve it. And, Sean, we've got to stand up and say we will not bow down to the mob.
You know, those of us that are in conservative talk radio, this is not new to us. Efforts to silence and boycott and get off the air and pressure campaigns. I'll be honest, I've been dealing with this pretty much my entire career. And we've dealt with it, a few of us anyway, here at the Fox News Channel. A few of us have had to deal with this here, too. And not only did they want your book canceled, but they also wanted you removed. Not the people of your home state that voted for you. No, no, no. The mighty elite in the swamp would decide that. Is that now officially dead? What's the standing on that?
You know, I can tell you, I'm not going anywhere, Sean. I'm going to continue to represent the people of Missouri without fear of any mob and without fear of any liberal Democrat who thinks that they can impose their will. And this is why I say, you know, listen, the First Amendment may protect the right of my Democrat colleagues to slander me and to lie, but it does not give them the right to try to abuse the power of the Senate to silence me and silence Senator Cruz and others. And I'm just not going to stand for it. I mean, if they think that I'm just going to roll over and say, oh, just go on ahead, abuse the Senate, tear down the Senate, tear down all of our democratic traditions, I am not going to stand for it. The people of Missouri sent me here to represent them. That's exactly what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to be intimidated by the liberal mob.
You know, where do you see this ultimately ending? I mean, we saw, for example, there's now an official criminal investigation into Hunter Biden. The New York Post was correct. We talked to the repair shop owner on this program last week. Tucker talked to Mr. Bobolinsky, and he gave his story. And I've talked to people that have seen the laptop. We have all this evidence of a quid pro quo with Joe and zero experience Hunter getting money from, if you listen to Grassley and your colleague, Senator Ron Johnson, those two colleagues, you know, they talked about Russian oligarchs, Kazakh oligarchs, the Ukrainian oligarchs, Chinese nationals, wire transfers, shopping sprees, the Bank of China, millions from Burisma. Joe's the vice president. And apparently it goes right to him as evidence in this, what is on that laptop. And then it gets worse. So we don't apply the same standards and big tech can just silence conservative views?
Yeah, and big tech, of course, suppressed that story, the New York Post story about Hunter Biden, about the laptop, and you see what they want to do. I think where does it end, Sean? Where it ends is we've got to stand up and say no to the mob, because if we don't, then conservatives all across this country will be unable to speak, they'll be unable to do business, they'll be unable to be heard. And we've got to stand up right now and say enough is enough. We will not be intimidated.
Well, I think your book's going to be bigger than ever. You can thank all the people that criticized you for it, and hopefully they'll pay more attention to it, because this cancel culture, wokeness, whatever you want to call it, this effort to silence opposing views is real, and it's been going on college campuses against talk radio for many, many years, and now it's spun totally out of control from the very people that say the most incendiary things. Fascinating. All right. Thank you, Senator.